What's up, guys? The boys, 20K13. I'm going to talk about 12 reasons Dean Ambrose could be going heel at WWE Payback. Dean Ambrose has endured an up and down WWE career. He started off on a strong positive, coming in as the front man of the Shield. He was very much pushed as the leader of the trio in early 2013, with Rollins and Reigns being the junior partner, carrying the majority of the promo work and entering solid in-ring performance. Ambrose was an all-rounder who appeared most likely for a future single success. But it hasn't turned out that way. Seth Rollins flourished steadily, started to steal the show with his own promos and in-ring spectacular. Roman Reigns emerged as a franchise-level star, the sort of marketable presence that the company can build commercial gains upon. Lost in the shuffle was Ambrose. Reigns and Rollins went off as single stars in mid-2014, with Ambrose the forgotten man and the changes. But that didn't stop a rally of popularity in the latter half of 2014. Reigns went out injured, and it was Ambrose who ended up with a nice mini push in pay-per-view main event with Seth Rollins. He memorably closed the show in a tremendous Hell in a Cell effort. The other thing noticeable in that time was just how over Ambrose was. He obtained huge reaction and his merchandise was selling well, but then he was forgotten again. For the last 6 months, he's just been another face on the roster. That could all change at Payback, with WWE possibly about to turn him heel as he challenged Seth Rollins for the WWE title in a fatal four-way, also involving Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. Number 12. Lack of relevancy. Ambrose isn't relevant right now. He's been lost in a mid-card scheme, making do with uninteresting feud with Luke Harper. Before that, he was just one of the interchangeable bodies in the ladder match at WrestleMania. The presence of John Cena in the mid-card had made life hard for the likes of Ambrose. How can a mid-card babyface really share the spotlight with Cena? The trouble for WWE is that Ambrose is in danger of losing all relevance. If a talent stays in the mid-card for too long without a real meaning, then they eventually become worthless. WWE are perhaps addressing this with Ambrose's role at Payback. A spot in the main event and subsequent heel turn can give Ambrose what he needs to break out of his current career rut. Number 11. WWE unbalanced babyface heel roster. There are too many babyfaces in WWE right now. That's a massive part of Ambrose's problem. He's fighting for a babyface spot in a roster that also includes faces like Randy Orton, Roman Reigns, John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, and up until recently Daniel Bryan. On the heel side, the only really over bad guy is Seth Rollins. There's heels like Sheamus and Big Show, but they are barely significant to the fans. That gives WWE a problem. They need to change the balance and support the heel side. There's too much quality on the face side. One of them needs to move over to the dark side. With little else going on, that man should be Dean Ambrose. Number 10. Sudden booking change. The big clue in the upcoming heel turn is WWE's sudden booking change. Ambrose was never meant to be in the Payback main event. It is a very late change. Cable ads had already been shot advertising Payback as a super threat, so why add Ambrose so late in the day? Clearly WWE has something up their sleeve. It could just be that he's in there to take a pinfall and protect the other workers. But it seems more likely that a change of this nature is indicative of something bigger. It looks like the creative team are finally about to give Ambrose something to get his teeth stuck into. Number 9. Friend of Spot. There's a whole vein of talent in NXT awaiting call up to the main roster. Neville recently came in as a high-flying babyface and others like Finn Balor are ready to come up. but right now there really isn't a spot for another babyface. That's a problem for someone like Baylor, as he firmly over as a face and signed with WWE with the notion that he wouldn't be in developmental too long. And getting the new blood in, the thought process might be to move Ambrose into a heel spot. It frees up space for some new wrestlers, and heel Ambrose could even be the foil for the popular NXT upstart. Number 8. Heel champion replacement. Seth Rollins is increasingly looking like he'd be spun off from the title scene to face Kane. The personal feud has slowly been building, and it really isn't about the title. Beyond that, Brock Lesnar is seeking personal revenge, and is expected to tangle with Rollins at SummerSlam. Basically, there's no real need for the title to be involved in Rollins' next few months. With that in mind, WWE are perhaps thinking to get the title off Rollins and on to another heel. That stand could well be Dean Ambrose, a man who has many things in common with Rollins. Number 7. Failure as a face. Part of the reason for Ambrose to do a turn is his own falling. If he was over as a babyface, there wouldn't even be a question of him turning heel. But he hadn't managed to break out at the Daniel Bryan level of babyface reaction. Instead, he at that reliable level for a good pop and surge in interest, but nothing that's going to change the business. He got to take some responsibility for that. It isn't all down to WWE booking. Even the positive of the face run have ran their course for him. He at a point where a flip will really benefit his overall standing in the company. Number 6. Payback needs a moment. On paper, WWE Payback looks like a very average B-show. It could really benefit on a night from some sort of shock moment. That also benefits the WWE Network as it will get over the idea that every show is a must-watch. Dean Ambrose is the appropriate person to provide that moment. For the casual fan, it will be shocking to see a heel turn. It will create buzz about the show and undoubtedly trend on Twitter. He's the best positioned star to provide that moment. As the timing isn't really right for WWE to pull any big changes elsewhere. With that in mind, Dean Ambrose must be utilized to punctuate payback meaning. Number 5. WWE did a turn last year. WWE turned Seth Rollins heel almost exactly 1 year ago. It was the day after Payback 2014. With Rollins turning heel on his Shield partner, that tells you WWE would like to do a change up at this time of year. It is that little lure between Mania and the bigger summer show, so it makes sense to throw something engaging into the mix. It would almost feel even more appropriate that Ambrose turn, given that it would be almost a year since Rollins' action. In fact, maybe it will even go down the same way as Rollins' turn, with the actual turn coming the next night on Raw. Number 4. The insider verdict. The suggestion among the insiders is that a turn could be coming. The late change to the main event was discussed in Dave Meltzer Wrestling Observer newsletter, which states, and I quote, "It also gives them the chance if they want to turn them on Orton, because the company is weak on the heel side, and there are new babyfaces they can put either up the card or introduce in higher position." The internet wrestling community as a whole is guessing at the potential for Ambrose to flip sides. It just doesn't stack up that he goes from a nothing feud with Luke Harper to a WWE title shot. It feels like something else is at play. Conspiracy theory aside, the insiders have been saying for months that Ambrose deserves better. Perhaps an upcoming heel turn is what he's been waiting for. Number 3. Low Raw rating. The May 4th Raw rating was so. It came in at a 2.55 rating and 3.37 million viewers. To put that into perspective, it is the lowest rating and lowest viewing audience for the show outside of football season or holiday night since 1997. So what will Vince McMahon do to address the situation? Probably a whole range of hot shot angles. Ambrose will be a part of that. His sharp turn at Payback could be just one of the things that WWE believes will help to recover ratings. And series fans will tune into Raw next Monday, demanding answers as to why Dean turned heel. Number 2. Set up a more interesting future. When you stand back and look at it, what seems more exciting? A WWE future with Ambrose continue as babyface, or a future in which he a full-blown heel? At the end of the day, we've seen all that Ambrose can do as a face in the past year. It was fun, but it hasn't really carried him anywhere. If he and WWE want to create something more interesting, then the heel turn must be carried out. That opened up so many compelling promo opportunities and new match types. Indeed, the lunatic friend aspect of the Ambrose character is perfectly transferable to a psychotic heel character. Just imagine him going up against the likes of Bryan or Ziggler with a psychotic intensity in his eyes. Number 1. The Shield Reunion. Another factor to consider this weekend is the Shield reunited. Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter even identified it as a possible outcome this Sunday, with WWE perhaps looking to balance their heel side out. It would definitely create a huge story, but you have to question if they really turn Roman Reigns heel at this point. He heavily invested in as the next franchise star. He isn't really looking like a former heel, but that could all be part of the massive swerve. What's interesting is that the WWE are at least teasing the possibility of the Shield reunion. It is the boldest thing that they could do. Not just Ambrose going heel, but all 3 Shield members going heel in a new pack. It is the first time that all 3 men have been against each other in a match, and it just seemed open to the possibility of all 3 turning on Orton. But the 4-on reunion is more far-fetched idea. The individual heel turn of Ambrose is far more likely. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys on the next one. Peace.